The ash was still in my hair when she walked into my courtroom, like she owned the place. White suit, calm smile, heels clicking on the tile. Karen. She didn't look at the soot on my cuffs. She looked at me like I was a bench. "Small world, Mr. Harper," she said. "Funny thing is, I bring coffee here. I set chairs. I keep the train on time." And that morning, the train ran over my life. Here's what happened next. The judge called a case, not mine. A zoning spat with the homeowner association. I stood by the door with a stack of folders. My house had burned Sunday night. Everything smelled like a campfire you didn't ask for. Then I saw it on my own desk. A printed notice from the homeowner association, dated Friday. A request to give up a slice of my yard for community parking. Karen leaned near and whispered, "Growth is good. I'm sorry about the fire." She smiled like she'd sent flowers. Let me back up a step. I'm Nate Harper, 61, widower, court clerk in a small county seat where everybody knows whose dog barks at dawn. My wife, Emily, used to say I brought peace to rooms. After she passed, I tried to keep the world neat. I mow on Saturdays. I fix squeaky doors. I drink coffee from her steel mug, the one with a dent on the rim. The homeowner association didn't like my old porch rail or the big maple in my yard. That tree was our shade when the chemo made her skin tender. I said no. They sent letters, then more letters. You want the hook? Sunday night, I woke to a crack like a bat hitting a mailbox. Flame crawled the porch rail like a live thing. I got out. I watched my roof sink like a tired chest. And over the sirens, I heard heels on pavement, laughing, not loud. Just a slice of sound you don't forget. Have you ever stood in your yard in socks and felt your life turn to smoke? Tell me in the comments if you've had a night that split you in two. Here's what I discovered after. On my blackened flower bed lay a business card. Clean as a new dollar. No soot. Karen Whitmore, Community Compliance Liaison. It didn't belong to the ash. It looked placed. I put it in my pocket. I didn't call the news. I didn't call a lawyer. I went to work Monday because that's what I do. Routine keeps you standing. At 10 o'clock, Karen was back. Same white suit. She wasn't there for me. She was there to hold court in a room that isn't hers. She's good at that. She likes the light, likes the microphone. My nephew, Elliot, slid up beside me in the hallway. He's 28, fast mouth, cheap tie, new law license. "Uncle Nate," he said, "you look like charcoal." I told him about the card. He whistled. "You've got the best weapon in town," he said. "You've got the hallways." I shook my head. "I've got a pay stub and a burnt lot." Let me tell you a small thing that mattered. I went to the archive room. It smells like paper and old shoes. I've been in that room 1,000 times. I know where files go to nap. I looked up every request the homeowner association had filed in the last 2 months. It took me 15 minutes. That's the perk of knowing which drawers stick. There it was. A plan sketch for future parking, showing my fence line as subject to owner cooperation. It was stamped weeks before the fire. My name wasn't printed, just 3 letters, KH initials. Maybe it was random, maybe not. I felt my jaw set. You know that feeling when your mind goes cold and sharp? Drop a comment if you've had that switch flip. I took my coffee to the staff lounge. It was empty. The vending machine hummed. I stared at the dent in Emily's mug and felt like a man who forgot a promise. "I'm stuck in hallways, Em," I said, quiet. "You always wanted me to get out of the doorframe." I felt my heart drop to my stomach. I know you've been there too. Here's what happened next. Karen started showing up more, not for cases, for community outreach. She met with Marilyn, the judge's assistant. Marilyn is sharp, hair in a tight bun, glasses straight. She ran the judge's calendar like a clock. Karen brought her pastries. They laughed in the doorway. People began to look at me like I carried bad luck. Word got around. Nate stored old paint. Nate had wires hanging. Nate's porch was a hazard. None of that was true, but truth is quiet. Rumor has speakers. Let me back up to the night of the fire. A silly sound lodged in my head. The click of a lighter, not mine. I don't smoke. And a short phrase whispered, "Let's go." It rolled in my ears whenever I closed my eyes. I told Elliot. He frowned. "You need cameras, Uncle, or you need to spook her." I said, "I'm not setting traps. I'm not that guy." He grinned. Then be another guy. Be the man who hands out awards. I laughed at him. Then I stopped laughing. Because that was the first clear thought I'd had. Karen loved stages. She loved ribbons, plaques, certificates. We had a neighbor day coming up. A silly little festival with food trucks and a prize for best yard. The homeowner association sponsored the stage every year. The judge liked to be seen giving out something wholesome. I carry the boxes. I know the rituals. What if, I said to Elliot, we give out a different prize? We went to the judge's office. He's tall, gray hair, voice like a closed door. Elliot pitched it. A new community award, he said. From the court, for transparency. The judge looked at me, not at Elliot. You think that's wise, Mr. Harper? I kept my eyes steady. It calms people, I said. It gives good press. He hates mess. He nodded. Fine, keep it clean. He didn't ask about my house. That's okay. I don't need pity. I need tools. Now the build. We had a glass drop made in a shop 2 towns over. Clear, simple. Inside it, I set a tiny thread of black. Kind of pretty. Folks would think it was a ribbon. It wasn't. It was a hair-thin line of ash from my porch. I fixed a small plastic strip under the base. Looked like a maker's tag. It was a code you could scan with a phone, not to some website. To a file on a small drive we'd hand over for the press kit. The file wasn't a video, no faces. I didn't want the internet. I wanted a mirror. I had to find words to put in that mirror, so I watched. Karen liked to print at Marilyn's workstation. She plugged in her little thumb drive. She liked to make show copies for meetings. You learn patterns in a courthouse. I didn't crack passwords. I didn't break locks. I watched for what people leave in plain sight. And one afternoon, when Marilyn left the copier tray open, I found a stack of throwaway drafts in the recycle bin. Some were meeting scripts. Some were nasty little templates. Not crimes, but they stank like fear. Create documentable issues. Note trash cans left out. Knock after 10 p.m. to verify compliance. Photograph any clutter. Suggest fire risk. If you ever had someone nudge you toward a mistake just to write you up, you know the chill. Have you ever felt watched in your own yard? Tell me your story. Here's the trick. I didn't need to accuse. I needed her to speak in her own voice in front of her favorite thing, a stage. I pulled phrases, not names, just the tone. We cut them into a simple slide that asked a simple question. Are we okay living by fear? Elliot said, this won't hold in court. I said, I'm not after court. I'm after conscience. He rolled his eyes. Those are in short supply. He wasn't wrong. Neighbor Day came fast. Blue tents, the smell of fried dough, kids with face paint. Karen wore white again. She loves how it pops on a sunny lawn. She took the mic before she had it. We're proud of safe, beautiful homes, she said. People clapped. I walked up with the glass drop on a black stand. My hands shook. I kept my elbows close so no one saw. On behalf of the court, I said, a new award for clarity, for honesty. Karen stepped forward, smiling like a news anchor. I looked right at her. This is made from something that survived a fire, I said. A reminder, only the real things last. She blinked once, took the glass. Elliot handed her a small velvet pouch with the drive. Press kit, he said. Photos, copy, all yours. Now, watch the move. Karen doesn't wait. She wants the show now. She plugged the drive into the stage laptop. Let's see what our court has prepared, she said. The first slide came up, not her face, just a line on a plain screen. Are we okay living by fear? Then phrases. Create documentable issues. Knock late. Photograph any clutter. No names, no screaming, just a mirror. The crowd shifted, not gasps, but you could feel a wire hum. Karen smoothed her suit. Thank you for that. Passionate message, she said. We remain committed. She turned it like a pro. People clapped out of habit. The band started early, and just like that, my plan looked silly. I stepped off the stage feeling like a balloon with no air. Have you ever set a trap and caught nothing but your own doubt? Be honest. I'm listening. I went inside the community hall to breathe. The air was cold. My hands shook. I set the glass drop on a side table and stared at that thin black thread inside. It looked like a line drawn by a patient child. The dent in my mug dug into my lip. I whispered, "I'm trying, Em. I am." Right then, Marilyn came in, no smile. "Why did you do that, Mr. Harper?" Her voice was steady, but her eyes weren't. "I didn't accuse her," I said. "I asked a question." She looked down at the glass drop. "She promised me a title," she said. "Then she promised me more." Her jaw tightened. "But last week she told me to forget a neighbor's call about late-night knocks. It felt wrong." She was talking fast now, like a dam cracking. I stayed quiet. People don't talk if you fill their silence. Here's what she didn't know I'd say next. "I'm not looking to ruin anyone online," I said. "I want her to trip over her own pride." Marilyn looked at me like she'd found her car keys. "I have something," she whispered. "I kept a spare, for when she wasn't around." She opened her purse and laid a ring of keys on the table, small brass, a plastic tag with a code. "To the homeowner association meeting room," she said. "Take them before I change my mind." Have you ever watched someone cross a line back to themselves? It's quiet, no music, just a key on a table. Tell me if you've seen it, because that night, we used that key. We waited till dark. Elliot drove. I carried a flashlight that used to live in Emily's nightstand. The homeowner association keeps their big room at the back of the clubhouse. The hallway smelled like lemons. The lock clicked like a tiny throat clearing. Inside, banners rolled in tubes, stacks of yard signs, boxes with labels, compliance materials, welcome kits, training. I didn't take anything. I opened a box and read checklists, scripts, engagement plans. They love fancy names for simple things. I found a list called Difficult Homes. My address was there. Elliot reached for it. I stopped him. "We're not stealing," I said. "We're arranging." He raised a brow. "Arranging what?" I put the list back, face up. I took a thick stack of their own drafts and put it on top. Then I pulled a printed letter from my folder, not a fake. A public note the judge posted on the court website about ethics and fear. I slid it to the bottom of the box, under the scripts, so you'd see it when you lifted them. I capped a black marker and wrote on the lid, "Drafts, not for distribution." Elliot stared. "This won't get her arrested," he said. "That's not the play," I said. "She's going to carry this box into the one room she thinks will clean her image. She'll ask for a stamp of purity, and we will be standing right there." He rubbed his jaw. "You're meaner than you look, Uncle." I shrugged. "I'm tired. Have you ever realized the straight path won't save you? When did you decide to turn sideways?" "Drop it below." I read every word. We locked up and left no trace. The night air felt thin. I held the key ring like it might burn. Marilyn was waiting under a pool of light by the door. She didn't ask what we found. She just took the ring, slipped it away, and said, "Tomorrow she has a meeting at the court. She wants an official letter to calm donors." She met my eyes. "You'll be on duty, won't you?" "I always am," I said. "And here's where I leave you for now." Karen showed up the next morning with that box in her arms, white suit bright as ever, a brittle smile on her face. She marched straight past me and said to the judge's door, loud enough for the hallway, "I'm here to put a stop to ugly rumors." I lifted my stack of folders, took a breath, and followed her in. What happened when I laid her own papers out on our tables? She came in hugging that box like it was a newborn. White suit, cold smile, perfume sharp as lemons. "Judge, I'm here to address slander," Karen said. Not a knock, not a hello, just a claim. The judge looked over his glasses. "Mr. Harper, sort the materials. He trusts me with paper. He doesn't trust drama." Here's what happened next. I set the box on the long tables we use for exhibits. I put on gloves. Habit. I opened the lid. On top, their own drafts. Checklists for late-night checks. Photo angles for clutter. Scripts for safety concerns. Nothing illegal on its face, just cold. I spread them out, neat rows, facing the judge, the clerk's desk, the gallery. Karen tried to smile wider. "Those are training notes. People twist things." Her laugh was thin. "Let me show you the move." I kept stacking her papers until I reached the bottom of the box. Then I slid out the letter. The judge's public note about ethics. One line underlined, "Any control by fear is not welcome in this house." I set it in the center. No speech, no pointing, just the sentence, sitting where everyone could see. The room went still. You could hear the clock tick. Karen stepped forward, palms open. Your Honor, I brought these to prove our good intentions. Someone planted that letter. Marilyn cleared her throat behind her. That letter is public, she said. It belongs in every room. Karen turned. Marilyn, not now. Marilyn squared her shoulders. Now is the time. The judge slid his glasses down his nose. Ms. Whitmore, what exactly do you want from this court? She blinked. An official statement that we're not bullies, that the rumors are false. The judge folded his hands. We don't issue character letters. His eyes flicked to me. Mr. Harper, anything else in the box? I kept my voice level. Yes, sir. A list of difficult homes. I laid it out. My address on the page. Karen's gaze jerked. That's a working list, she said. For outreach. Elliot, standing in the back, said, Outreach after 10 p.m.? I shot him a look. He shut up. Have you ever watched someone realize they walked into their own trap? It's like a smile that can't find a face. Drop a line if you've seen that moment. Karen tried to pivot. Judge, this is harassment. A clerk is attacking us. The judge's voice cooled. Ms. Whitmore, he opened a box you brought. You asked for light. We turned on a lamp. He nodded to me. Thank you, Mr. Harper. Leave the materials for a moment. He turned to Karen. You're done here. Not a ruling, just a door closing. She wouldn't leave. Pride wouldn't let her. I won't be smeared, she said, voice rising. The gallery, already thin, leaned back. People in courthouses know when a tone goes bad. I picked up the glass drop and set it at the end of the table. The ash thread inside caught the ceiling light. You like stages? I said, gentle. This isn't one. She cut me a glare like a knife. You've been petty since your little fire. I held her eyes. My wife's name was Emily, I said. Say it. The room held its breath. She didn't say it. Here's what happened next. The judge stood. This is over. He looked at Marilyn. Please ensure we receive no further joint initiatives from the homeowner association. That's all. No bang of a gavel, just policy withdrawn like a hand. It should have felt like a win. It didn't. Because when I stepped into the hallway, 2 board members were waiting with Karen. Big man in a polo, woman with a tablet. The man jabbed a finger at my chest. You think you can shame us? Karen found her tone again. We'll file a complaint against you for tampering with our property. The woman lifted her phone, already recording. Admit you went in our room. I felt that old hollow open in my gut. For a second I saw my house at midnight. Black ribs of roof, sparks like winter gnats. My hands went cold. Have you ever felt the floor slide under your heels? Tell me where you grabbed. Complain all you want, I said. I returned your key. Marilyn stepped beside me before I could finish. To be clear, she said crisp, I gave Mr. Harper temporary access, under my supervision. She lied for me without blinking. Then she turned and walked back toward chambers like it was nothing. Karen's mouth opened, then shut. The board man huffed. We're not done. I nodded. You should be. Let me back up, just one beat. This is where most folks expect a press conference or a lawyer's letter or a vote to kick her out. That's not what I did, because that's her arena. Cameras, committees, claps. I needed to pull her into a smaller room, the one inside herself. I went home, if you can call a black square, home. The ground was still damp from the fire hoses. I stood where our couch had been. I could smell Emily's soap in my head. Ghost smells are cruel. My neighbor, Mrs. Carter, shuffled up in her gardening hat. She's small and tough. She held a wrapped bundle. I saved something, she said. Inside was a stick, not much to look at. It's a cutting, she said, from your maple. I snipped it before the flames jumped. My chest hurt like a pulled muscle. Thank you, I said. Sometimes the bravest thing is saying those 2 words and meaning them. I dug a shallow hole at the back of the lot, pressed the cutting in, packed it soft. My hands were black when I was done. I poured coffee from Emily's mug on the soil, a small toast. Then I went back to work. Routine holds you together when your life is duct tape. Next day, Karen came early. No white suit, navy this time, serious. She asked for the judge again. He wasn't in yet. She turned to me. Do you have a copy of that letter? It's on the website, I said. You can print it yourself. She lowered her voice. Drop the act, Nate. You think you're a hero? I leaned on the counter. I think I'm a man who sets chairs and knows where the light switches are. Here's what she didn't know. People in this building don't like bullies. They won't make a scene. They'll just stop opening doors. By noon, the judge's calendar showed no availability for any homeowner association outreach. The clerk at records stopped fast-tracking their paperwork. The county office canceled their display table for the next festival. No memos, no speeches, just quiet no's. Have you ever seen ice form under someone's feet while they smile? It's slow, it's cruel, it's earned. Karen pushed back hard. That afternoon she called a safety walk at the clubhouse. She invited donors. She invited a local pastor. She invited the mayor's assistant. She wanted a blessing, not from the court, but from the town. Elliot called me. You going? I said. I have to work late. He laughed. Liar. I'll meet you there at 6. We showed up to a room dressed like a showroom. Banners, coffee, cookies with neat icing. Karen took the mic. Rumors have circled, she said. We stand for safety. She pointed to a display table. On it, the same checklists I had laid out. Same scripts. Same training. She had doubled down. We make neighborhoods better, she said. We keep fires from starting. There it was. The word, fires. My neck got hot. I walked to the table and touched the corner of a sheet with one finger. Create documentable issues, I read. Knock after 10 p.m. The pastor shifted. He wasn't smiling. The mayor's assistant looked like she wished she was anywhere else. Now the pivot, not mine. Hers. The thing about people who live on a stage is they forget where the edge is. Karen saw the faces tilt away, and she panicked. She reached for certainty. She pointed at a blown-up photo on an easel. It was my house, charred. She said, "This is why we do what we do. This man ignored safety warnings. We tried to help. He chose pride." She didn't say my name, but she didn't need to. My chest went empty. Air left the room, at least for me. I wasn't ready for that punch. Have you ever been hit in a spot you thought had healed? I know you have. It's a mean feeling. I should have left. I didn't. Instead, I walked to the front and put my palm on the easel. I'm right here, I said. Simple, clear. And I never got a warning about fire. I got notes about my porch rail and my tree. Karen tried to cut in. Sir, this is not... I talked over her, soft. I lost my wife under that tree. I kept it because it was shade on her worst days. That's the safety I needed. The pastor bowed his head. The room got quiet, the way rooms get quiet for truth. Karen snapped. We're done letting feelings run this town. She grabbed the glass drop from a side shelf. She had brought it, like a trophy, and held it up. This is drama, she said, a prop from a man with an agenda. She went to set it down hard, to end the moment, to control the table. And here's where the floor gave way. The base of the drop hit the table, and the little plastic tag under it, my hidden code, caught the edge of her nail. It peeled. Her phone, lying face up, lit and scanned. The screen bloomed with the only file on that drive. The question slide. It mirrored onto the flat screen behind her because she had hooked her phone to it earlier for her own show. One line, giant in white letters. Are we okay living by fear? People laughed, not at the words, at the timing, at the stumble, at the queen who tripped on her train. She flushed. Turn it off, she hissed to someone. Nobody moved. Elliot stepped close, kept his voice low. Walk away, uncle, he murmured. You've done enough. He was right. But I had one more thing to say, not to her, to the room. I work in a courthouse, I said. We don't do perfect, but we try to do fair. Fair is simple. You don't knock at people's doors at night. You don't take a man's tree from a dying woman. You don't point at a burned house and sell cookies. I looked at the pastor. You know this. I looked at the mayor's assistant. You know this too. Karen slammed the glass down again, harder. It slid, teetered. For a second, everyone saw it fall in their minds. I caught it with my palm. The ash thread inside lined up with my wedding ring scar. I held it there, gentle. Don't break what you can't make, I said, and set it straight. Have you ever felt a room change temperature without the AC turning on? That happened. People began to drift. The donors found their coats. The pastor shook my hand and left without a cookie. The mayor's assistant said, "We'll be in touch," and meant we won't. No vote, no press, just a slow, public unchoosing. Karen stood alone by her banners, breathing through her nose. Here's the truth. I didn't win by yelling. I won by letting her show herself with her favorite toys. Ribbons, screens, speeches. I gave her mirrors and she filled them. The days after were quiet. The homeowner association still sent letters. They always will, but their special perks dried up. No more main stage at town events. No advice columns in the county newsletter. No seat at our safety council breakfasts. They weren't banned, they were ignored. And for people like Karen, that's worse than a headline. Karen didn't apologize. I didn't expect her to. She avoided the courthouse for a week. When she came back, she wore gray. No heels, flats. She stood by my counter with a manila envelope. "These were mailed to us," she said. "Insurance photos from your block. I thought you'd want a copy." She slid it over. I took it. No thanks, no smile. Just a nod between people who know a storm has passed, but the sand isn't dry. Let me back up to the piece you care about most. My house, my tree. The cutting didn't look like much for a while. A twig in mud. I went out every morning with my coffee and touched the stem. Felt nothing. Thought about pulling it up. One morning, a week after the safety walk, a tiny green split opened at the tip. 2 leaves, small as my thumbnail. I laughed out loud, alone, like a fool. It felt better than any clapping crowd. Elliot came by that evening with a bag of screws and 2 sawhorses. "I made you a table," he said. It wobbled. We fixed it together. We ate from paper plates on it. He asked, "Do you want to sue her?" I said, "I want to sleep." He nodded. "Fair." A month later, Marilyn found me in the hallway. No bun today, hair down, softer. "You planning anything else?" she asked. I said, "Tomatoes." She smiled. My dad used to say tomatoes forgive you if you forget to water them once. We stood there in that dull hallway like 2 people in a backyard at dusk. "I'm sorry about, she said. "I'm sorry about what I let slide." I shook my head. "You fixed what you could." She looked away. "I'll try to fix more. Here's what I want you to take with you. I didn't beat a machine with a bigger machine. I didn't find a magic paper. I didn't post a video and watch it go wild. I pushed a woman who worshipped control into rooms where control turns to glass. Then I held the glass so it didn't break and let everyone see how she handled it. Have you ever won by not breaking something? By standing still while someone else trips over their own need to be seen? Tell me. I learned from you as much as you learned from me. If you're waiting for a big "and then she was fired," you won't get it. Real life is slower, quieter. But here's the ending I got. The judge called me in on a Friday. "Mr. Harper," he said, "about last month. We rely on you beyond coffee." He cleared his throat. "There's a supervisor slot opening, if you want it." I said, "I still set chairs." He said, "We need someone who knows when to turn on the light." That was his way of saying thank you. I said yes. That night, I sat on the tailgate of my truck and watched the 2 small leaves on the maple cutting tremble in the breeze. I put Emily's mug next to me and knocked it with my knuckle. "We're okay," I said. "Not perfect, not fixed. Okay." Sometimes okay is the best victory you can carry. One more thing before I let you go. If someone is walking into your space with banners and smiles and rules that smell like bleach, check what's in their box. If it's a mirror, hand it back. If it's a hammer, don't let them swing it. And if all you have is a small glass thing with a line of ash inside, hold it steady. Drop a comment. Have you ever chosen a quiet win over a loud fight? What did you save by doing that? And hey, take care of your trees. They remember who stood in their shade.